Welcome back to Sector 666. Get ready to explore one of the most heart-wrenching stories of cave diving history. The time when cave diving turned out to be a misery for the adventurers. It was midsummer 1967 when 6 young men went 2 miles into the Mossdale Caverns. It was all fun and exciting. Fortunately, they passed the drown or glory swims and entered through the rough and nerve-wracking passages. And finally, behind them is the 900-foot marathon crawl, a low and narrow tunnel only passable by wriggling sideways in the stream. So, what went wrong? Let's dig in. Before we move ahead, here is a little background about the Mossdale Cavern and its dangerous system. The cave system lies in the southern part of the Great Whernside and contains a huge underground tunnel of 6 miles. It was first explored in 1941 by British Speleological Association member Bob Leakey. It had a reputation as one of the toughest underground challenges in Britain, with nowhere to escape if it flooded and many of its passages at the top end of difficulty. That is why some cavers have always felt amused and fascinated to explore the cave system. However, only a few were aware of the fact that Mossdale Cavern was prone to flooding, and the tiny passages inside made it difficult for cavers to crawl because some of the passageways of the cavern are full of neck-deep in water. The challenging system of this cave made it notorious for the cavers, yet too intriguing. This is where the story of the tragic incident began, when cave diving went completely wrong. "50 years ago, on Saturday, June 24, 1967, at 2 p.m., a group of 10 cavers, 8 men and 2 women, entered Mossdale Caverns close to Grassington. They were all excited about the cave, regarded as one of the toughest challenges for a caver. All of them were quite experienced cavers. They were aware of the weather changes and intense situations, which thrilled them even more because these cavers wanted to enjoy an exciting trip. They split into 2 separate groups before going into the cavern. The initial group of cavers went into the Mossdale Cavern, including Dave Adamson, Jeff Borrow, Bill Frakes, John Ogden, Michael Ryan, and Colin Vickers, to use dynamite to blast a new passage in the cave system. Though the second group, including Jim Cunningham, Morag Forbes, John Shepard, and Colette Lord, expected exclusively to go to the extent through the rough passage, an underground trip that required around 40 minutes, and afterwards return to the surface. However, one thing that they didn't focus on was the cruel shift of Mother Nature. None of them knew of their future and what could possibly go wrong. It was only time that would tell them and make them realize the dangerous situation ahead. The second group finished their trip securely and left the cavern at 5 o'clock. By late evening, the weather worsened, the cavern had dwindled rapidly, and massive rainfalls started to recede. The 6 cavers, who had gone to the end of the cavern, were overshadowed by heavy rain that had flooded the cave. Meanwhile, one of the cavers named Morag, 22 years old, went back twice to the cave. As the weather worsened, the other group worried about the 6 cavers, who didn't return. Soon, a lake of swirling water covered the cave entrance, which terrified the entire group of cavers. As the situation was getting out of hand, Morag ran desperately 2 miles to Yarnberry Farm, where Farmer Riley phoned the police. By 11:10 p.m., the big cave rescue was on. The first vehicle to reach was driven by Stephen Butcher. In one of the reports, he mentioned that he could hear the sound of splashing water from 100 miles, and the entire place was full of water, just like a sea. Many teams joined hands to work because the situation was intense, and it was impossible to handle it by just one team. Together, they were a total of 300 volunteers working together to save the lives of 6 cavers stranded inside the cave. Attempts to rescue the men lasted 4 days, and included bringing in an excavator to try to dam the cave entrance. Fire service pumps were used to lower the water level, and the dam was maintained by the huge number of cavers and rescuers who had gathered at the remote site on Conistone Moor. No one understood what to do next. Rain was falling consistently, the dam was still unsound. Arriving at the bodies required 5 hours of slithering, and their recovery appeared impossible. The coroner, Stephen Brown, met with the guardians, police, and rescue pioneers. Getting the Home Office to endorse an investigation without bodies, he requested that the cavern be sealed and respected as a grave. However, the guardians and families disagreed with this. It was a painful choice for them. They wanted their loved ones to be out of the cave and not left or buried there. Initially, some rescue reports mentioned, "Never has so much been done by so many people for such a small reward." But rescue teams were ordered to make efforts and get the body out of the cave. So, the rescue teams and all the volunteers continued trying, and after 6 hours of rescuing attempts, 5 of the bodies were found. However, the cave was supposed to be evacuated quickly, as the weather remained terrible. On Tuesday, the rescuers attempted again to continue their operations. Right after 14 hours of continuous efforts, the body of the final missing caver John Ogden was found in a very small passage. As soon as the group learned about the other cavers and their bodies, they were devastated. It was even more painful for Morag Forbes, as she was soon to be married to the group leader, David Adamson. The heart-wrenching news left everybody in a very shocking state. Although all of them were experienced cavers, and it was not their first time exploring a cave, they still didn't make it through. However, it was later decided to seal the cave to prevent further incidents. But it was reopened in 1971, with the consent of the families. The men's bodies remained where they had been found for another 3 years until a group of cavers broke through the seal and moved them to another chamber, which they named the sanctuary. With this tragic incident, there was a lot of criticism. Many people pointed fingers and blamed the rescue teams for not acting up on time without appropriate resources. On the other hand, some people criticized the young men for choosing to explore the dreadful cave. They mentioned that it wasn't a good idea to explore the deep system of the Mossdale Cave in such weather conditions. At the same time, some people mourned the tragic incident and stated that it was just their bad luck. The weather changes can be cruel sometimes, and that is exactly what happened in 1967, on the day of this historical incident. After the cave was unsealed, a few weeks later, the families and loved ones of the ill-fated cavers came together to perform the memorial services of the departed souls. The St. Mary's Church in Conestone was full of people who paid their condolences to the families. It has been 55 years since this tragic incident, but people still remember the horrifying situation and the departed souls of the cavers, who never made it back every year. To date, it is known as the most deadly and fearful incident ever in the history of caving. That was the tragedy of Mossdale Cave when cave diving went wrong for explorers. What do you think about this video? Let us know in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video.